Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries Live. And you see, Janice is with us. Hey, Janice. Glad that you are here because this is the extended conversation. So, for those of you that did not yet listen to this morning's podcast, you have got to go back and do that. Make certain that you do because all we are going to do is expand on the conversation. Janice, thank you so much because this morning you poured in a lot of insight for us, discussing how to deal with burnout. What else can you share?
Well, thank you for having me uh, back again for follow up. And, uh, you know, it is, uh, it's 2024 now, and many people are still feeling stuck in that pandemic energy and trying to sort out, like, what the heck does it mean to
Mhm.
be in this like new normal? What is that? So um so I think for me, an important opportunity that we have whenever we face something, whether it's a personal burnout or a divorce or a loss of any kind, it can be an opportunity to really help us reboot. So, so in what ways, I wonder, are people still kind of stuck in some kind of post-pandemic drama,
Mhm.
and they would like to exit?
So, for those that are listening, let's give them three high level ones. And for those of you that are listening, put your comments below because even after this is over, Janice can come back and answer a bit deeper. But, Janice, as a certified professional doing this now, what three are the top areas that you find that people are in burnout? And what insight do you give them to get through that?
Yeah. So uh, the first way that I notice people are in burnout is when they try to take a break, whether it's a weekend or a week off. I noticed this a lot over the holidays, that people would take off for like 2 or 3 weeks, and they would come back and they would still be tired.
Needing a vacation from the vacation.
so uh so I think there's a couple of things going on there. One is that we don't know how to take time off. One is that we need even more. We think, oh, that'll be plenty of time. And we have gotten ourselves so splattered that we need even more time than we think. And then it's really, uh, you know, we we tend to think that there needs to be some kind of long, drawn out experience where we really like dive deep into the well and really fill up. And that's wonderful if we ever have a chance to do that. And then there's like the rest of us who
I
we're
don't have
just
that much time. I'm
right.
trying to
We're
figure it
just
out now.
yes. So having those regular things, um, making those regular deposits into your self care it accumulates over time and it matters. So whatever it is that you can do in your like little micro break, it counts. So don't think, oh, well, I'm not even going to bother with that because that's just 15 minutes to walk around the park. It counts. It all counts. So when we are recovering from burnout, it's really about knowing that you matter and that every little thing you do to help yourself, to feed your soul, is going to impact the bottom line. And vice versa, everything you're doing that is draining to your soul, everything you do that is zapping you out of your, joy for life, that's
So
going to
let me
impact
ask you a
the
quick
bottom line
question with
too.
that. Because your desire is to always help entrepreneurs. Because you shared in this morning's episode how you want entrepreneurs to stop breaking your heart. And if you all want to know what she was talking about that broke her heart, you got to go back and listen. But for this moment, you're saying give ourselves those micro moments. I often share with my clients, take 5 minutes. But you made a statement about walking in the park for 15 minutes. There is scientific studies that often say that just being around nature, drawing in those sounds, because we don't often think as entrepreneurs that we're in burnout. What are some of the immediate signs? Because people know the extreme burnout signs, because your body will say, I'm done, and shut you down. And then there's those moments where it's coming, but we're not quite sure because entrepreneurs, you're the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. So it doesn't dawn on you that I'm really getting close. What can they really pay attention to? And what are those small moments? Because sometimes that 15-minute break to go outside doesn't really register. Can you walk through something that they can do to give them an idea?
Yeah. So that's a really good point. I think we are, as humans, we are really tolerant of, like we're tough, we can take it. And so we have a high pain tolerance. And, entrepreneurs in particular, like you suggested, are decision makers. The job is like you have all of the decisions on your plate that need to be made all day long. And that requires you to tap into some creative genius. And when we are like crispy with burnout and we're not in ashes yet, but we're not like soft around the edges anymore. We're a little crispy. Then it's hard for us to tap into that creative genius that maybe is what inspired us to do this work to begin with. So I would say, being aware of what does it look like for you when you're tipping over into survival mode, and you want to be in the creative genius, but you're tipping over to survival mode. And I would say one of the things, particularly for people who need to make decisions all day long, is that when you're like, okay, so yesterday I made all these decisions and I was feeling like a queen, like a king. And today I can't even remember what I like in my coffee. Today I can't, I don't even know what to say in response to this simple email. Like those, when you are having trouble making decisions that you normally on autopilot can just like go through. And suddenly you're like, just being me feels hard today.
Ah.
Then you're beginning to tip over. We want to tap into a little more of that creative genius. And when you're leaning into that survival mode, that means, anything you can do, take 2 minutes to just breathe. Just breathe in and breathe out.
That's a good
The
technique.
uh, the the easiest way to activate the reset part of the brain that we want to, you know, ignite when we get into that everything's on fire, the alarms are
Yeah.
going
Because your
on.
breath lets your brain know we
Yeah,
are in a safe space because we get the chance to
yeah,
breathe. That is a really good technique. And I share that when I find my clients sort of in overwhelm because with divorcees, we're walking through the emotional roller coaster. Some days it's good. And then, like you said, survival mode. Survival mode kicks in a lot. But that reset, oh, what other ways can we reset our brain? Because you were saying pay attention to environment. And that was one of the lessons that you shared earlier in this morning's episode. So if you didn't listen to her lesson, she's going to walk quickly through paying attention to your environment because your environment will give you a lesson that you can tap into that will let you know how to start living your life. Because there is this happy medium right in the middle that people like to say that you said wasn't so good. Tell us about that one.
yeah. Well, I think movement, and I'm not saying that you have to get up and dance for 20 minutes. Just putting your hands over your head and stretching, you know, standing up, um, you know, uh, anything that uh, that gets you, even if you just like leave the room to go walk and get a glass of water. Um, Anything you
Interrupt the
do that
pattern. That's
gets
what I
you
kind of say. Interrupt the
unstuck,
pattern.
right? Because when we are when we are leaning towards burnout, we're in a state where we're feeling stuck. So anything we do that, shake your hands out, tap your feet, like whatever we're doing to get moving, it's amazing how small it needs to be. Um, that that it doesn't have to be like a 20-minute workout. It can be as simple as taking a walk down the hallway and you know in you know I think it's qigong. They do like tapping on your body just to be
Yeah.
like,
Body
hey,
tapping
is
to
everybody
stimulate.
still is everybody still here? Is
Yeah.
everything still working? um so something as simple as that can
Because some of
really.
that tapping is just to invigorate the blood. So getting the blood
Yes,
flowing and getting the blood flowing does
right.
what you were also saying about earlier. It brings in oxygen, it's moving the nutrients and stuff through our body. These simple techniques we don't think about because it's okay to do them. And here's the other thing when you were sharing about you made a decision that you wanted to be an entrepreneur because there were certain things you wanted to do. And what you were doing before was good. But you said that even good things have an expiration date. How would somebody know when that moment has arrived where they need to put an expiration date on this thing and make a transition? Maybe not as drastic as you moving from DC to or changing whole career paths. But when would they know it's time to put an expiration date?
That is a great question. And I think that part of the reason that it's so hard to give ourselves permission to do that is because we fail to even ask the question, is this what I want? Is this feeding my soul? Is this a decision that me today would choose? Or
Mhm.
is this a decision that, 10 years ago, it seemed like a great idea.
Right.
And now, I'm living this dream from 10 years ago. And it doesn't mean that you need to blow the whole thing up. However, we charge our phones, we update our laptops. Like, what are you doing for you? When's the last time that you got charged? When's the last time
Mhm.
that you got an update? So even if it doesn't mean like throw the whole thing out, in what ways are there some things that maybe it's like getting a new outfit, that you're like wearing clothes that are 10 years old
Mhm.
and you just need a new outfit, right? So sometimes it's not about, I'm not I'm not someone who is advocating that radical, transitions are the way to go, because sometimes for you, just a simple shift, just a simple shift is huge. And suddenly you feel like, oh, it's like, to me, it's like there's this waiting line that, I don't know why I'm talking about 10 years today, but let's say that you've had all of these parts standing in line for 10 years. And uh and suddenly you turn around and you say, oh, wait a minute. um I don't think I've paid attention to that part in a long time. I wonder if they need something. And suddenly everybody's hands up. Everybody's like, oh, she's paying
Paying
attention.
attention to me.
I need something. I need something. And it doesn't even have to be, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to mean, oh, that's going to be 3 years of therapy. It can be as simple as, in what ways have I been paying attention to everyone around me? And I am like so good at meeting everyone else's needs. And in
Mm.
the meantime, there I am standing in line for 10 years. My feet are tired. And um, even if you just say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize you were standing there. I'm sorry. Just that attention can be a huge difference. And then, like, oh, let me get you a glass of water. Oh, let me see if there's anything that you want to watch on TV, any music that you would like to listen to, any, just the simplest things can help us meet our own needs.
That
So
sounds like
let's
some of what
start
you shared
there.
this morning. Yeah, because this morning you were talking about unpacking you because you are the best gift that you can give to someone. And paying attention to those small things like, okay, I've been standing here for 10 years. Let's unpack why. And that small moment is the little shifting. That's what you're sharing now. That sounds okay.
Yeah, I just want people to realize that um, it doesn't have to be that hard. It doesn't have to be, oh, it's going to take $10,000. Oh, it's going to take 3 years. Oh, it's going to, right. When you're talking about taking care of yourself, then um, those little gifts you give yourself every day that let you know you matter, and being kind to yourself, when we have I know you have it because we all have it, this ego part that likes to bully us and say that we're doing it wrong or we could have done better or what have you. That um what if we, you know, let someone else have a turn to hold the mic once in a while, someone who's
Mhm.
just going to be nice to us, someone who talks to us the way we talk to other people.
That part. And not doing it all by yourself. Because in this morning's episode, you shared that the thing that we have been given to do on the earth requires more than just us to get it accomplished. So, with that in mind, what practical insights can you share with entrepreneurs to enhance their resilience and productivity in their career so that they don't burn out? Because the insight that you typically give in your quarterly retreats help them solve what's happening a little bit, come back to it, but we still need some resilient productivity that we can do because it's still a business that we're running. It's still things we want to do. How can we do that without burning out?
Well, I think first of all, you touched on um, a key point that we are resilient, that we have resilience, and oftentimes we are looking we are looking at where we want to be, and we're
Mhm.
so obsessed with what we don't have yet. So I think an important thing to do on a pretty regular basis, I'm not talking about like your annual review. What if once a month you sit down and you look at, what do I have to celebrate from this month? What did I do that worked? How did I get here? And how amazing is that? Never mind, yes, there's always, entrepreneurs are never going to be satisfied. They're never going to see the marquee, you have arrived. Um, However, uh, remembering where you've been and remembering how far you've come, even if it's just 30 seconds for you to be like, what did I do this month? That's awesome. Good for me. Pat yourself on the back, literally. Uh, and if you can do that for each other in some way, it doesn't have to be a paid community. But if you have some buddies who you get together with once in a while to say, how's it going? What what do you have to celebrate? And what are you working on? And how can we support each other? It's really easy to feel like you don't know where you're going, and when you don't get um, a notification from someone saying that you did a good job or not.
Yeah, because
So
those silent moments sometimes, as
yes.
an entrepreneur, you wonder. But here's another thing, because this is reminding me of a conversation I recently had. So, for those of you that regularly listen, yes, this was not premeditated. Janice was not here for that last conversation. When someone stopped me and was like, "You've come so far," and I'm like, "No, not really." But what I'm hearing from you is that we still have to celebrate because entrepreneurs, because we keep moving the marker. We don't get there. We have done so much. Oh, and when someone recognizes the growth that you don't see, we have to learn to say thank you because it took me going through that moment and that time to stop and realize all I had to say to her was thank you. And I didn't. I gave excuses about I still got to do this. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I should be. I had this plan. I didn't even make the plan.
Yes, it's really easy for us to be just just overflow with encouragement for other people. And so I like to think about it. Um, an exercise that I've given clients is to imagine that you have a boomerang and put in that boomerang everything you've ever given to someone else. And then throw it out to the edge of the universe and then sit with, expanding your permission to receive those blessings back to yourself, because you deserve to have this exchange of giving and receiving. It's not all one way. And what you said is so important about, it's really a gift to the other person who's offering you a compliment to say thank you and accept it. And yet we have to practice that, right?
That part. Because we don't practice enough receiving, especially for those of us, because many of us that started our business, and for some, it wasn't really a business. It was just us wanting to serve, wanting to support, wanting to help. And that was how you also walked through this journey, and you are continuing to give, support, and serve. So before we wrap up, I want them to hear about one more thing that you are doing now to give, support, and serve. Tell them what's coming up on June 28th.
Yes, so I'm excited to have a quarterly virtual retreat. So for all you people who know that you need a timeout, but you are like, it is just not on the calendar for me to even get a weekend off, Janice. this idea of a retreat is it's on my to-do list, and it just keeps hanging out on that to-do list. So this is a no excuse opportunity to take a short time out on June 28th for my quarterly seasonal Serenity virtual retreat. And so each season, we will tap into the themes of what's going on in the outside world and see if we can invite some of that energy, no matter what's going on in our internal world. And so June 28th will be the themes of summer. And we have some fun things, some sound and mindfulness coach meditation, some movement, and I'm going to teach some more tapping, and health coach will be there to help us tap into what we're all trying to do in the summer is, take better care of ourselves. So this is really meant to be a gift, to be really a time to unwind and recharge, and not, of course, because my priority is to avoid overwhelm and burnout. I don't want to overwhelm you with anything that you feel like that's too much. And obviously, everyone has their preferences for what they like and don't like. So there might be something that you're like, Janice, that's weird. I'm never doing that. Great. Take what you want, leave what you don't. This is a no pressure event. However, I do really want people to have an opportunity at least 4 times a year, that you have an opportunity that's easy for you to just take a short time out to unwind and recharge. Because as you know, if it doesn't get put on the calendar, often doesn't happen.
That part. And so for those that are listening, When she said this is a gift, she means that. This is a free opportunity. I'm going to make certain I put the links in below. But if you've listened to this morning's podcast, then you have already heard it. Janice, I want to say thank you for pouring in, expanding the conversation. I appreciate this time. And in the meantime, this is Tanya Ehud, walking in my purpose, and we hope you do the same. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.